Hey, I'm Scott.
And I'm Melissa.
And this
is the Walsh Fam Podcast.
Yeah, hey, and welcome back to the Walsh Fam Podcast, where two people talk about life with you people. I'm Scott Walsh. I'm joined, as always, by my wife, the never-endingly fantastic Melissa Walsh.
Wow.
I don't know where that came from.
I can tell you from personal experiences that I have been unfantastic at times.
There's been an end to your fantasticness?
There have been one or two times, probably.
Not
in my
to
life.
me, Melissa. Not to me.
Wow.
That's just how strong our love is.
So we're starting off this podcast with lies.
With sarcasm, I would say. Never-endingly fantastic. Well, I think that's probably a good way to start it off, because I want to just say right off the bat, if we look or sound tired at all during this episode, it's because we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, why are we tired, Scott?
We just had our big weekend event with our church. For those who do not know, Melissa and I are mentors with our student group at church. I want to give them a big shout out. And we had one of our biggest events of the year, which we call the weekend.
The weekend, yeah. It's super exciting. We have so many students that come out, new faces, old faces, and just a lot of fun. I think we'll talk about that a little bit more later.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to dive into it because it was a blast. It was a lot of fun, and we've got no shortage of stories and fun information we can share from it. So we're going to catch you up on all of that. Should be a good time. But first, though, we all know what time it is.
It's candle time. Today we have a Chesapeake Bay candle. If you know, you know.
Okay, I see what you did there.
The scent is Peace and Tranquility, which is cashmere jasmine.
Cashmere jasmine.
Yes.
Does cashmere have a smell?
Like a sweater, right?
That's like what a fancy sweater is made out of.
Let me tell you, I think it does.
Okay, well, let's have a little sniff over here.
Have a little sniff.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So they're promoting peace and tranquility with this one, huh?
Yes. And I thought that after our very chaotic weekend, we could use a little bit of peace and tranquility.
Absolutely, we could. Yeah, so Melissa's going to get that going for us. As always, we're going to rate and review the candle at the end of the episode, so you don't want to miss that. We're just out here helping you decide which candles you need in your life. So we don't like to consider ourselves heroes, but...
I mean, maybe we do.
Here we are.
We do like to consider ourselves heroes.
Well, you said we could use some peace and tranquility, and
there's
that's
one
probably
more
right.
thing that I think we could use.
Oh.
I think we could use some self-care.
What?
I think that we've had very minimal hours of sleep, and we could definitely use some self-care while we do this episode.
So you're saying
So put them on, Scott.
Crystal Collagen Gold Powder Eye Mask?
We're going to be reducing the puffiness under our eyes. We're going to be absolutely just stunning by the end of this episode.
Okay, so no lies here. This is new to me, so...
So they just go right under the eyes like this.
And I'm going to do this?
Right away, yes. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just go ahead.
And this, what does it do? It reduces puffiness? And...
Under eye circles. So those bags under your eyes, that baggage you're carrying with you, we're going to reduce that greatly by the end of this episode.
Okay, we're going to leave them on all episode?
Just for a while.
Okay.
Come on, Scott, get with the program.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I did it the
here,
wrong
here.
way. I did it the wrong way.
There you go.
I opened it upside down and they started falling all over the place.
Oh, I feel
let me
better.
see.
I feel better already, and I can help you.
I
with
cannot
where to go.
believe that you sprung this on me.
Well, when we were setting up, I was trying to hide them under my pillow so you wouldn't see before
Is that in the right place?
Yeah, kind of press it in so it stays. Yeah.
Oh my, this is...
Up a little bit, I think, just to really get the bags.
I hate having things touching or around my eyes.
We'll do it for a little bit.
This doesn't
and
feel
then-
right.
That's perfect.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Okay, do the other one.
Oh, it's it's touching my eyeball.
Is this your first time doing an under eye thing like
it's
this?
too close. I don't know, but I don't like it. It's slimy.
I feel like I'm torturing
Why?
you.
I don't
This was
know
meant to be a positive experience.
Although it is kind of like refreshing, being that it's like wet
Right?
and a little cold.
Yes.
Okay, so
We needed this, trust me. Another thing that we needed, not to get off topic, but we just accidentally took a 6-hour nap.
a 5 hour. Oh no, a 6 hour nap. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So we planned on taking a 1 hour nap, and we woke up at about 6:30.
Are these in the right spot?
Yeah, they're great.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hate this, but apparently this is going to help
toss that
with our eyes.
Our under eyes. Yeah, we're restoring, we're hydrating, and we're just going to be getting a lot of, I would say, peace and tranquility during this episode.
This is not at all where I thought we were going to start this episode off with. But apparently we're going to have these things under our eyes.
Some self-care.
I can't believe
you gotta do self-care sometimes.
You can't just spring that on me when we start the episode.
I can, and I did. Oh my gosh. Okay, Scott, how should we start this off?
Why don't you want to give some overview of the weekend so they all know what we're talking about?
Yeah, so you'll hear us say the word the weekend a lot. That's the name of the conference. It's for students. This is middle school and high school students. And Scott and I specifically are 9th grade mentors. So we hang out with freshmen a lot more than the average 20-something does. We have them in our house every Sunday. And then this conference is a time when we really dive in and just do life with them for a whole weekend straight, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I want to say too, I know we've got a lot of our students have kind of stumbled upon this podcast and are probably listening, and maybe some parents out there. So
yes.
I just want to say 9th grade students, we love you. Huge shout out to you guys.
Shout out. Yes. And parents, thanks for trusting us with your kids. That's huge.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We love them to death. And if you're a student watching and you're mortified thinking we're going to tell a story about you, you could be right, but also we won't embarrass anyone.
No, we won't.
Except for ourselves, probably.
Absolutely, we will do that. So, yeah, but this event is definitely one of the biggest that we do all year.
Yeah.
So we have, of course, a summer camp, which is huge. But even this is almost just as big as that. This is a giant deal.
Yes, and it's so compact that you're just getting goodness and awesomeness the whole time. It's so cool.
Yep. So we started Friday night, then overnight into Saturday, all day Saturday, overnight into Sunday. It's now Sunday when we're recording this. So we got home this afternoon, immediately got in bed and slept for 6 hours.
Yes.
And now here we are.
Yeah. So the cool thing about this event is that we stay at host homes.
Right.
So people from our church will volunteer to let us stay in their house, in their basement, guest bedrooms, etc. We literally come in and take over the houses. So for us, we had, I don't remember if it's 19 or 20 girls, but we had a lot. And so we were really blessed to have a house to go to, and we took over 3 floors. We were in the basement. We were on the main level. We were upstairs. We were in the bonus room. We were everywhere. And I know you had a little bit smaller group, but what was it like in your host home? What was the vibe? How was your weekend?
Ours was so low key. So last year was my first year doing it.
Yeah.
And we had, I want to say 13 kids at that point, 8th grade boys. For me, now 9th grade.
So we do separate boys and girls. So Scott was with 9th grade boys. I was with 9th grade girls.
Yeah, normally we have them together when we just do our weekly meetings and things like that. But for this, they're separated. So last year had a bigger group. This year had a smaller one. We had 7 kids, which was pretty small, but it made our sleeping situation and our host home situation very low key, which I was thankful for. Now, this is a luxury that not all of the homes get, but ours, we were able to, the mentors, myself and 2 others, had enough bedrooms that we each got a bedroom to sleep in.
That is a game changer.
I know, because last year we did not. So I slept on the floor, kind of under a staircase.
Yes.
With 13 middle school boys all around me.
Yeah, which is fine. That's what we signed up for.
Right.
The bedroom is a blessing. That is above and beyond.
It's not expected, but it's appreciated.
Yes, very much.
So
we also did.
Yeah, shout out to Sean for offering up his home for us to stay in. It was much appreciated. But our boys, being that we only had 7 of them, it was a very mild-mannered group too, so they weren't going crazy, they weren't going wild. They pretty much, when we wrapped up for the night, which was around midnight or maybe after, so it wasn't early, but when we wrapped up, they were about ready to go to bed. They weren't wanting to stay up and goof around or anything. So I think we all got a decent amount of sleep, but still not a ton. I probably got 5 hours both nights.
Yeah,
about in that range.
Okay, very nice.
How'd you fare compared to that?
I got a little bit less sleep than that. So I think the main thing, we also, us girl leaders, we also got beds and bedrooms, and it was amazing just to be able to we're going all day, to be able to like go in a room and close the door and then get into a bed at the end of the night and wake up like, I mean, we didn't get a lot of sleep still, but you wake up and you're like, that was something. Like, I will take that.
Yes.
And just really good. I've never been so thankful to have a bed and a door other than that weekend. So it was good. I think the main thing with having 20 girls plus 3 leaders plus the people who own the house is there are a lot of showers happening.
Oh, yeah.
And not enough hot water, because most houses, believe it or not, are not built to have 20 plus showers in one night.
Right.
So there were some cold showers, but I found a strategy in that, and I was able to just wake up a little earlier and take it and have some warm water.
That's definitely the move. That's definitely the move. Yeah. I like to be one of the first in the showers as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah. I will say definitely my days of doing like a sleeping bag on the floor.
Yeah.
They've come and gone. Like when, even if you ask me,
well,
like,
they may not have.
Even if you asked me like a few years back, I'd be like, oh yeah, whatever, no big deal. But now, like last year, I was sleeping bag on the floor, which was fine. But I tell you, I wake up a little stiff. Like I'm not as young and
kind.
I
don't know. Something about a good night's sleep makes me a nicer person.
Oh, I mean, I personally am not as young as I used to be.
Oh.
And you said kind, like I'm not as kind as I used to be.
No. You're kinder than you've ever been, actually.
Oh my gosh, that's such a nice compliment. I'll take that.
It's true. It is true.
I appreciate that.
Get better every year.
Well, let's talk more about the weekend, because I mean, there was no shortage of fun to be had. One of the main things they do is squad wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is so they pit all of the kind of groups against each other. So they lump all of the middle school girls, the middle school boys, the high school girls, the high school boys. They have different colors and team names, and they all compete throughout the weekend for points.
Yeah. So what are the 4 teams?
Oh, so middle school girls is Storm.
Yes, they're purple.
Middle school boys is Tidal.
Blue.
I was a member of Team Tidal last year. High school girls are Flash. And we are seeing...
Yes.
With your patches.
The back of this says Flash with some more patches, some lightning bolts, but I did have to kind of rep my team here today.
Yeah, and the leaders and the kids, they go all out on the team spirit. So
I would say even after, like, I think it's really cool that you're repping yellow for Flash right now with your patches. And so just look right in the camera, and I'd like you to just do a shout out to Team Flash.
I would never, never in my life support Team Flash.
I'm just going to say that I have other eye patches, and I specifically chose yellow for you.
Although I will say, if it's not my team that's going to win, which, by the way, last one, high school boys is Inferno, so go Inferno. That was us this year. We're red, yeah. But if it wouldn't be us that would win, I would want Flash, because... it's also our students that are in Flash now that we work with the high schoolers now. So, But somehow, and I don't know how it happened, Storm, the middle school girls, came away with the victory in this one.
Well, I'll say, so last year we were 8th grade. I was with 8th grade girls, so we were in Storm and not in Flash. And I really thought like that we won because of my grade. Like our 9th grade girls now, 8th grade girls then, they compete. They want to win. They're competitive.
That's for sure.
They do. And they won several of the challenges last year. And I really thought that we were going to be able to just crush it this year as Flash. And I think we did a good job. We were competitors.
Yeah.
But I just think that with some more time and growing, we're going to be able to take back some victory.
I really thought this was going to be the year for Inferno. They've had a drought of quite a long time.
If I had to guess, I was guessing that Inferno would win. So for a little backstory, this is all points based. We do a bunch of different games and challenges. And so we're not necessarily seeing what all the points are throughout the weekend, but we have people who are keeping track of that. So when it's announced at the end who the winner is, sometimes we're shocked or even confused.
Yeah, or even a bit suspicious, frankly.
Yeah. But it does, we do have people that they're good people and we trust them and we don't think it's rigged like some do.
There have been allegations, but I'm personally team not rigged. I
agree.
I think it's all above board. It's just a little disappointing. I was asking everyone, everyone you talked to this morning or last night was like, I think Inferno might have it, I really thought we had a chance, but wound up being Storm.
Yeah.
Middle school girls.
It came out of nowhere. People. And they have a lot of passion. So,
they also have a lot of students.
They do have a lot of students.
So they definitely outnumber. I don't know if that helps or hurts, but.
Yeah.
they took it away. So
Yeah, I won't
shout out to them,
speculate as to
Storm.
why, but I'll say good job, Storm.
Right. And we have a motto around our church and our student group, which is don't get bitter, get better.
So take that and run with it.
Yeah, we're not bitter. You know, Storm, congratulations. We're just going to get a little bit better, and we're coming after you next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Flashes. I don't know if you are.
I think it'll be
I
Inferno.
think it'll be Flash.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, tune back in a year.
Well, one of the big highlights of the weekend as well was every year, Saturday night, they have a big event.
Yes.
And this year's
It's called
event,
After Hours because it's late. It starts at 9.
Absolutely. Yep. So we have a full day of, we do, small group sessions where we're talking. We do large group sessions where we have music and then a message, and we have
Awesome
breakouts
speakers.
and lunch and dinner and all that good stuff. So a full day of activities, and then after hours hits at 9 p.m. And every year there's a new fun activity planned for the group. And this year, Melissa, where did we go?
We went to Slick City.
Slick City.
I don't know if everyone's heard about that. It's kind of new. Like, it's not the oldest place in the area. It's super cool though. So it's like an action park with giant slides that you go down on these mats that make you go even faster.
Yeah.
And we tore it up.
Yeah, I didn't even know this place existed.
No.
Before they announced it.
Yeah.
But after having been there, I personally am a big fan.
If they have a season pass, I'm interested. Like, let's go back tomorrow.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Those who did not make it out, those who are listening in the St. Louis area, our main base here, Slick City, check it out. So they had a ton. They had ones where, and they were, when they said slide, like, oh, they have a bunch of slides and stuff.
It sounds lame.
I was picturing like playground slides.
Oh.
These are like 40, 50, 60 feet in the air.
It's almost like a water park without water.
Yes. And I wasn't thinking about the mats, but they give you these like fabric mats that you lay on.
Yeah,
and
like a
then
yoga
slide
mat,
down on.
kind of.
Yeah,
like
with handles.
Yeah.
And they're super slick. And when you get going, these slides drop in steep. Like you
Yes.
get some serious speed. I was
Pretty quick.
I was a little nervous, honestly, going down my
Yeah.
first one. They had all sorts of different ones where you get to the end and they launch you and then you land on like an air pad or something like that.
Yeah. It's very fun to watch.
Yeah. Honestly,
Maybe we'll post some footage from this in our stories when the episode lives.
that's not a bad idea.
Airs.
We could. I will say it was a blast. And I was dead tired because we were there till 11 at night, and that is well past my normal bedtime. But it was so much fun that I didn't even hardly notice.
Yes. Now, we used to be younger than we are,
Yeah.
you could say. What hurts the most to you? Because I'll say my elbows hurt so bad because you're kind of like on your stomach and with your elbows down. My elbows definitely hurt today. It's not the only thing that hurts, but
I've got to tell you, I feel perfectly fine.
really,
Yeah.
I think you'll feel it tomorrow.
I don't know.
I think you will.
I don't know what it is, but yeah, I mean, I went hard. I hit every slide.
Yeah.
They also had like bounce pads with like basketball hoops and dodgeball and stuff. So I jumped in on some of that, and I went all out, but I feel perfectly fine. I don't have
Good.
any soreness or stiffness.
Good for you.
Probably partly related to the fact that, yes, I did not have to sleep on the floor.
Yeah.
That probably would not have helped, but
Yes.
I felt good. I mean,
Yeah, I'll say I could also be sore from the lack of sleep I got last night because I think I got about 3 hours last night.
ooh, Saturday night, 3 hours.
Yes. Well, the main problem with the whole weekend is that my fellow mentors that we worked with, I love them to death, and we had so much fun. Like, we stayed up and just talked and had a blast. And so you will not catch me on most days staying up until like 3 a.m., but for them I did. And it was so fun.
You're just chatting with them.
Yeah, I'd say from like midnight on.
Oh
Yeah, we're just chatting.
Not us guys. It was like,
Yeah.
it was like probably like 12:30 or whatever. And the kids were like getting ready for bed. They were getting their sleeping bags out and stuff. And
Yeah.
we went upstairs and we were like, all right, see ya. See
Yeah.
ya. And we all just went to our rooms and went to sleep.
Good for you.
Crazy. I will say too, your soreness, and I don't want to call you out at all, but it could be somewhat related to, you had a couple, I don't know to call them wipeouts, but sometimes when you get to the end of a slide, you still have a lot of speed And then once the slide ends, they have like these rubber mats.
Yeah.
And the pads that you're on, they slide really good on the slides. But once they get to the rubber mats, they don't slide.
They stop and your body does not stop. So it's like,
Yeah.
I think there are videos possibly of like my feet going over my head.
Yeah, I call it a scorpion.
A scorpion.
Yeah, because you've got so much speed coming out of the slide.
Yeah.
You hit the rubber mat and the pad stops and you're holding on to it. So your body stops, but then the rest of your body wants to keep going. So it comes over the top and it like cracks your back.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting. I didn't expect so many videos to be taken, Chelsea.
We'll post some of those if we have them. I think we can probably find some of those.
Did. I'm kidding, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was very wary of that, so I lifted up and I braced for impacts. But they had one where it had 4 slides right next to each other, like, and so you could race people. So we did that with us and a couple of our friends. We did it a few times, and I remember the first time we did it, we were side by side and we were neck and neck. You know, we were trying to race to the finish,
and we didn't know about the friction thing.
This was our first time, right? So, now, I had a bit of a suspicion, so I was kind of strategizing. I had
thanks for sharing that with me.
I had my front end up so it didn't catch and go under, and I was keeping my weight to the back so I didn't start flipping over the top. But you were right next to me as we're coming in hot right at the end of the slide.
I did not have a suspicion.
And out of the side of my eye, I catch you go onto the rubber mat off the slide and then like skid to a stop with like, frankly, like your face. Like you lunged forward.
Yeah. Do you want to know what my thoughts were in that moment? Okay. So I always have earrings on.
Oh, no.
And I went kind of sideways to the face. And I did think that I had just ripped out the earrings from my ear. Like, and my earlobe. Like I was actually terrified, but I didn't.
And that's why they have a sign a waiver.
Yes. And don't wear earrings if you go. I mean, that was a poor choice.
That probably is a good word of advice. Yeah. No loose jewelry. I think that's smart.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't loose jewelry.
Right.
I don't know if that's the right word. Not like loose change.
Sure.
But
I mean, like I feel pretty good with like a ring on, you know, but if you had like a big dangly necklace, you know, I could see it getting caught on something.
Yeah. Definitely.
Whatever. Just slide at your own risk. But I will say Slick City gets 2 thumbs up for me.
I agree. What would you rate it out of 100?
Out of 100?
Out of 100, like we rate our candles. Okay, let me say something. Since we started this podcast, people will ask us to rate things.
Yeah.
Have you had that happen?
I have had that happen.
I have had that happen. For example, we'll get back to this. We did part of our first session that we did. We had a speaker and he had an analogy around light. So something to do with like mentors are light. And if you know, the room was dark and just the mentors had candles that we lit. And when they opened them and started handing them out, I remember one of our friends was like, "Oh my gosh, Melissa Scott, you have to rate this."
Yeah. We they handed out little candles to all of us leaders, and they all were different scents, or like a lot of them were different scents. So people were coming up to us and like, "Oh, smell this. What do you rate it?" I'm like, that's not how it works. Like
we don't just rate anything.
Like we don't just go around in our normal lives just sniffing things and rating them. But yeah,
Sometimes.
and we had our friend, I'll call him out too, Colin. We were standing around with him and we were smelling candles. We were, you know, passing each other's. They all were different scents. And he started talking. He's like, "Oh, this one's very herbaceous and very floral." And I'm like, I don't know
save
who
those
you think
words
we
for
are.
later.
Like, we're very entry-level candle raters. Like, we don't get into things like herbaceousness or...
I think that's how you know you're getting the real deal on our ratings, is because we are not like... We don't know a lot about candles. We just know if it's good or bad, you know?
Yeah, we're not hoity-toity candle people.
Yes.
We are real-world end users. We just are here for the experience.
Yes. Let me rewind a little bit. What would you rate Slick City?
Slick City. I'd give it a 87.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think I'm in the 90s. I think I would be in the 90s for Slick. I really had a good time.
Nice.
And something about us, like we like to do stuff. Like when we went on our honeymoon on a cruise, we booked an excursion for every single day. And like in past like Valentine's Day, we've gone to like trampoline parks. Like we like to do stuff. Yes.
Absolutely. We have not lost our childlike, you know, joy when it comes to fun things like that. We were all about like, oh, let's go to the trampoline parks, like go-karts. Yes, please.
Absolutely. Sign me up.
Like we love that sort of stuff.
Give me a good foam pit. I'm jumping in.
And the fact that then you put us there and we've got all of our other mentors that we've like become friends with over the years. Yeah. And we've got the students that
they want to have
enjoy.
fun with us.
Yeah.
And you just jump in and have a good time. And it's just, it was awesome.
So in terms of, after hours events, Slick City, I think was fantastic.
Oh, I just think it was perfect for what we needed. Yeah. And it was a great way to end the weekend.
I will say if there was one sour note about the Slick City experience, it's it's what happened to me just before.
Did it happen to you or did it happen because of you?
Well, it happened to me, but the reason it happened is really complex, but there's a lot of factors.
Is it really complex?
Yeah.
What happened, Scott?
I had a brief encounter with the law enforcement, I'll say.
Oh, wow. Interesting. There weren't students in your car.
No. I would never have students in my car in a situation where that could happen. Yeah, and yet I did. So
specifically 4.
And this is, I will never live this down as long as I live.
Never,
and I've accepted that, and that's okay. So I'm just going to come right out with it here. I got pulled over.
Yeah, you did, Scott. What for?
So we all started at the church. We had all of our kids, and we just kind of all caravaned. All the mentors got, a couple kids in their car, and we take off. So I had 3 kids in my car from our group, 9th grade guys. I'm going down the highway, no problem, and lights in the rear view, like right behind me, flicks them on.
Did you know it was for you right away?
Oh, yeah, right away. And actually, I didn't notice them first, but a kid noticed them and said something.
Something
like,
is that for
us? I was like, yeah, that's for us. So I was like, and gosh, I feel so bad. I was driving so safe. It snowed a ton before the weekend, so it was still kind of icy, kind of snowy on the roads. So I was driving super safe. And I had, when I started driving, just been bragging to the kids about how safe of a driver I was. I was like, I always go the speed limit. I'm very safe.
And you were going under the speed limit.
I was going under.
Because of the
So
weather.
I see the lights flick on, and I'm like, what on earth could this be? Pull over to the side, and I'm telling the kids, like, it's all good. Like, don't worry about it. Like, we're fine. It's probably just something minor. So the cop comes up, and these poor kids... probably traumatized him. He comes
Scott.
up and he walks on the passenger side of the car, and he's got his flashlight because it's nighttime, and he's in the backseat window with the flashlight. So he's eyeing up the kids with the flashlight. And comes up to the passenger door with the flashlight in, and I've got a kid in the passenger seat, 2 in the back, and hey, officer, and he says, your license plates are expired. So yeah, I had expired tags on my plates. They expired.
Scotty.
They expired the first of the year. So I've been driving on them for about a month and a half.
Oh, man. What, of all times, to get pulled over?
I know.
You were mortified.
That's what we said. So,
so what was the kid's reaction when you got pulled over?
I asked them when we stopped, I said, have you all been pulled over before? And 2 of them said yes. One of them said no. So I was immediately I was like, I'm traumatizing this kid. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, they're going to get home and tell their parents, like, we got pulled over at the weekend. We got arrested. Like, they are never going to be allowed back with me again. But
oh, goodness.
I think it's going to be all right. But it was hilarious. And, he got my license and he got my insurance card. And he went back to the car. And before he did, though, he said, we were all wearing lanyards.
Yeah. And they kind of lit up like, cool.
They have lights in them. So he asked us if we came from a concert. And I didn't get it at first. I was like, no, we didn't. I don't get that. So then he left, and I was like, oh, it's because of the lanyards. But when he was there, too, he also said, like, now I have to ask, because I'm here, do you have any weapons in the vehicle? And I was like, no, absolutely not. We don't. So he takes his stuff. He goes back to his car. And then one of the kids says, when he asked if we have weapons, I thought about saying, only these guns right here. And holding up his biceps, and I was like, absolutely not. Never in a million years ever say that. Do not do that.
I love that so much. I can't wait to find out who said that later.
I will fill you in.
We'll spare names on the podcast.
Although, yeah, we will spare names, but all in all, I got an $80 ticket. I want to say shout out to the officer that pulled me over. He could have given me a moving violation, but he gave me like a sitting violation or something.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so it probably brought the ticket amount down a little bit. But
yeah. So should we start like a GoFundMe or something?
Yeah.
Get that paid
Not a bad idea. We'll raise money. It's at $8,000. No, it's not. It's much less than that. And
Yeah.
I told all the kids, I was like, it's worth it for the memories. Because honestly, I will not stop being made fun of this for the rest of my time as a mentor.
They will never forget that car ride with you.
Yeah. And when we were pulled over, I was like, we're going to be a little late to the thing. So I texted you and our two kind of leaders of the student group.
Our student pastors.
Yeah, I group texted you and I just said, hey, I got pulled over. It's all good. I'm just going to be a little late.
And what was the response?
One of our student pastors texted back just like 6 laughing, crying emojis.
That sounds about right.
I was like, fantastic. Like, thanks for the insight. Glad you're worried about the situation.
I replied back. I said, "Are you kidding? I literally thought you were joking."
No, not joking.
It's like there's no way.
And then we get to Slick City after that, and people start hearing. I'm telling people, it's whatever, and everyone that hears is like, "That was you," because we were all going to the same
they
place.
all drove past you.
So everyone was like, "We saw that person pulled over," and we were like, "Sucks to be them," and it was me.
Sucks to be you.
And one of the people that heard that I told and then were laughing with me about it was the parents of one of the kids that was in the car with me.
Oh my goodness.
And you know who it is at this point, but they're also mentors, so they were there for the weekend and they were letting me have it. They were making fun of me so much. Like, I can't believe you had my kid in your car and you got pulled over. I was like, yep, I know.
I just know that of all the people who are going to give you a hard time, you will give yourself the hardest time over that.
Absolutely. I told the kids, though, I was like, you will learn when you become an adult. There are so many stupid things you have to stay on top of.
Yeah,
your
like
taxes and your documents and your license and your registration and your insurance and all this stuff. Yeah, like your license plate tags.
Or your driver's license.
Or your driver's license.
Which I'm sure was up to date.
Of course, I would not drive with an out-of-date license. Of course I did. So when the cop came back after I gave him my license and insurance, he said, "Do you all know that your driver's license is also expired?" I did not.
Bonus
so here
points.
we are. That's not that big of a deal, though. If you got an expired license, you're okay. You just got to go get it renewed. So the citation was for the plates.
Citation. That sounds horrible.
It sounds, yeah. I mean, citation, ticket,
Yeah.
either way.
But anyway, you made it through.
Yeah. I told
Got
the kids.
a good story.
I was like, if you learn anything from this, it's 1, just be respectful to police officers. They're usually nice people.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, stay on top of all of your vehicle registration and keep it up to date.
Yeah, I feel like I need to check mine now.
I would bet that if mine's expired, yours is probably expired.
Probably.
Well, it's interesting that happened to me because when I was younger, I was probably about the same age as our kids. I was, maybe in middle school, maybe in high school, pretty young. We had our weekend event at our church when I was in the youth group called D Now.
Oh, yeah.
A weekend
I know
event.
D now.
And I was riding in the car with some of my buddies in our group and my dad. He was one of our leaders that year. So we were in the car with him going to an event for the weekend, and he got pulled over.
Yeah.
And he got a ticket for speeding. So
Okay, I'm not trying to compare, but I think that's worse.
I think that's worse too. Look, I was going under the speed limit. I had been talking all night to the kids about how safe of a driver I was. I was driving. Look, parents, if you're listening to this, parents of our students, I am an extremely safe driver. And
That's true.
I would never put your kids in harm's way.
I am often infuriated by the way you drive
That's what
because
I
it's
told them.
not fast enough for me.
That's what I told them. Yeah.
It's irritating to me.
That's what I
for
tell
some
people. I'm
reason.
like, I am such a safe driver that my wife won't let me drive because she will just be fuming the whole time. Because
Yes. And I'm a good driver. Let's say that for the other parents whose children I was driving.
You are a good driver.
But a little quicker usually.
Yes. Whereas I might go 5 under, you might go 5 over.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's wild. But anyways, I was like, leave it to me to continue the legacy of my dad in getting pulled over and getting ticketed during a church event with a bunch of students in the car.
I wonder if our children will one day carry on the same legacy.
One can only hope. One can only hope.
Well, Scott, did you have any major takeaways from the weekend? I know we're talking about the fun stuff and the behind the scenes stuff, but was there something maybe from a session or a speaker or that kind of stuff that you're like, I'm going to remember remember that?
That's a good question. Cause for sure, it's a super fun time, but at the end of the day, it's also a really important weekend for the kids.
It's huge.
And for us,
Yeah.
we're there to kind of mentor the students, but we also have takeaways as well. So, why don't you go first? You go first. I feel like I've been talking a lot because I've been talking about me getting pulled over. I feel like I've been talking a lot. So you give me a break here. Why don't you tell us your thoughts?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think the coolest thing about how our student ministry works is like, it is so about the students. So even when we're having so we'll have sessions and we'll have small breakouts, and then we'll also have what we call life groups. So it's just the mentors and the students. So I think the cool thing is that we'll have questions that we'll ask or kind of prompts to get the conversation started, but really we let the students run with it and we kind of let them lead the conversation and share what they want to share about it. So not something specific about that, but I just always love that they'll bring things up that I didn't think about, or I love hearing how the young mind works, because I do really believe that this generation coming up, and they are the church now, I just really believe they're going to do the really great things. And so it's just encouraging, because I feel like online there's so much hate towards the younger generations and doubt and I can't believe this is how they act or this is what they do. But if students or kids, or maybe they're your kids from the generations coming up, they're going to do big things. They're going to move mountains. They're going to be bold. And I just think that's so cool and so encouraging.
Yeah. How cool is it that we as mentors get to be a little part of that?
I know.
Not that we would ever take the credit for that, obviously,
No.
but yeah, we started serving with the students a little while ago. You started a little bit before me.
Yeah,
I
this
think
is my third weekend event.
Yeah, you had about a year under your belt before I joined in. I was kind of iffy. I had a couple different thoughts of what I might want to do, but ended up jumping in with you, and it's been fantastic to get to, pour into these kids week after week at all these events. It's fantastic. And to see the growth they've had, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been really cool.
Yeah, I truly think, overall just having a weekend that is entirely devoted to just growing their relationships with each other and with God is just fantastic. So to get to see them just get closer to each other and just grow has been awesome. So, man, it is totally worth the loss of sleep, I will say.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So what's your biggest takeaway?
So for me personally, I did a breakout with Marquise Cox, shout out, who's one of our speakers, and he talked about your identity and how, especially for the students, but it's true even for us, you often try to find your identity in different aspects of your life. So it could be, in the sports that you play for kids. It could be in your job. It could be in even your marriage. Maybe I base my identity in being a husband to you.
Yeah.
And that's all fine and well. But at the end of the day, your ultimate identity as people of faith is as, a child of God. So everything else that you do falls under that banner. So it's the only form of identity we have that's never going away, and it can't.
Yeah.
And that was just awesome to hear, because for me, sometimes I do get caught up in worrying about or focusing on the wrong things. It's not wrong to want to be a good husband or to be a good friend or a good brother or, good at your job. These things are good, but if you put your whole identity in them, you can lose them in an instant.
Yeah.
If my identity is based in how I perform at my job, I could be laid off, and then
broken.
What do I do?
Yeah.
My whole source of being is gone. But yeah, just shifting the perspective that no matter what you do or what areas in your life you're worried about, your ultimate identity is that of a child of God, and that cannot be taken away from you.
Yeah.
No matter
Amen.
what. So
I love that. That's a good takeaway.
It was a fantastic breakout. So shout out to Marquise. That was fantastic. That was great. And he spoke this morning at our Sunday service.
And
it was
he brought it.
Really good.
It was good.
Definitely glad to have had him there.
Yeah. I had one thing that just really stood out to me all weekend was one of the songs that we sang a lot. And it's called, what is it called? More Than Able. Okay. And some of you at home might know it. But it was my first time hearing it. I don't know that I've heard it before.
Me too. Yeah, it was my first time.
But man, was it good. And every single word of that song is truth. So let me share a little bit about it. So it starts with, when did I start to forget all of the great things that you do? Talking about God. Like, that's crazy to me in its own. And then it says, why do I talk myself out of seeing miracles? You are more than able. Who am I to deny what the Lord can do? So it doesn't sound as cool when I say it as it does when they sing it, but it's big. And that those are heavy words, and that's huge. So I think what weighs so heavily about that with me is like the situations that we go through in life. You know, you have ups and downs, and when I doubt myself, it just makes me think, like, when I doubt myself, I'm doubting what God can do with me, because he created me.
Absolutely.
And we are made in the image of him. So that's just like a self-check. Like, I need to look in the mirror and be like, hey, you're not all the things that you can't do. You're the things that God says you can do through him. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So like when you're going through a hard time, we can ask for big things. We can pray for big things and big outcomes and, you know, what we want. And God he's more than able to make those things happen. And that's just so cool. And even if he doesn't make it happen how you think, he's going to do something beautiful with that situation. So I just think in this season of our life, that's something that just really stuck with me. And I think it's really cool for the kids that we mentor to have heard the same thing. Yeah.
I love later in that song in the bridge, it says, can you imagine with all the faith in the room what the Lord could do?
Yeah. Oh, and what a powerful moment when we've got 200 plus students. I mean, just reaching for the Lord and, you know, screaming that at the top of their lungs. I just think that's so cool.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what I was saying earlier, like this generation is here and they are big and they are going to do crazy cool things.
Yeah. And not through their own power, but through the power of the Lord.
With their faith, yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, it definitely hit me. For me personally, that song was fantastic, but then also thinking it through the lens of all these students and knowing all of the, you know, tough situations that they go through every day at school, and with all the things that can weigh you down and bog you down. Like, man, there's no limit. There's no limit to what God can do. And so just to have that message of hope, you know, and this weekend was super powerful. So
yeah, really cool. It was a great weekend. I mean, I look forward to it every year, but this was definitely a good one, and I think the students felt like that. They had a good time, and it was cool.
Yeah, weekend 2024.
Woo,
man. Yeah, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of energy, but it was awesome.
Super good.
Yeah, and we'll see you next year for the next weekend.
Absolutely, sign me up for the foreseeable future.
Well, I got to tell you, my eyes are feeling really rejuvenated.
Are they? Should we take them off or just leave them?
I don't know. I don't know how
we
these
can
work.
take them off. How about? Wow, that's really good.
I've never looked better.
Mine probably look worse because they probably just took off the pounds of concealer I put on to conceal my tiredness for this episode.
This is weird, slippery things. Okay.
I feel refreshed, Scott.
I do too.
Oh, that's nice.
I feel a sense of peace and tranquility.
Yeah,
almost.
would you say that you feel cashmere jasmine as well?
I feel so cashmere right now. Oh, so this is another Chesapeake Bay, or as you like to call it, Chesapeake.
Chesapeake. Or cheesecake. It
Cheesecake
really,
Bay.
you know, if you're...
That one kind of looks like cheesecake, honestly, with the color. So we're going to rate this out of 100, Melissa. I'm going to defer to you to go first this time. Let's hear your rating there.
I don't know why, but I'm always surprised when you ask me to go first when it's going to happen about 50% of the time.
Yeah, about 50-50 chance, so shouldn't be too shocking.
Yeah, well, it is. Probably the lack of sleep. I would say that I would rate this candle. I don't like that I have to do my own drum roll. Come on.
I will never do a drum roll.
I need a drum. I'm going to get a drum for the set. Anyway, I would rate this candle I would rate it a 74. I like the scent. I think the smell is good. It's not very strong.
I agree. Yeah, it's kind of like last week's one. Like this,
Yeah.
you can kind of faintly smell it, but not super.
I would like more impact from a candle.
I'm going to give it a 65.
Oh, wow.
Yep. I like, the smell's not bad up close, but it's not super strong. I do like the look of it, though, so I'm giving it some points for that. I like these with like the frosted glass.
I agree.
I think it looks nice.
And I do love like a neutral candle because it doesn't like mess with the vibes.
Yeah, it doesn't really have, I honestly, cashmere and what? What else was it?
Jasmine.
Cashmere and jasmine. Yeah, it
I
doesn't,
can't say I like smell jasmine though, or
I don't even know what
cashmere.
jasmine smells like, or cashmere, but
Yeah.
it smells nice. I'll give it that. And it doesn't smell seasonal. You know, if you have a candle that's like, oh, like cinnamon, I'm going to think that's like a winter thing. Or if it's like,
it smells clean,
yeah, that's true.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's like a fresh linen-y kind of scent.
So it works year round. I'll give it that. Just a little faint for my taste.
Yeah, I would say I would light it for like ambience, like,
for sure.
but not like if I'm like the dogs smell weird and I need to light a candle and cover it up. That's not what I'm gonna go
Yeah,
to.
probably not strong enough.
Definitely not for two 100-pound dogs.
Yeah. Well, that was Peace and Tranquility by Chesapeake Bay, and this was the Walsh Fam Podcast. We may have been a little long-winded. I mean, we had a lot to share. We could have gone on for another hour.
I could talk
easily.
about that for days and days, and I think I will. Just
Yeah.
not on a podcast.
Correct. Yeah, we've only got so much time here to do these, but
Yeah.
thanks for tuning in, man. We appreciate you listening. Whoever you are out there, we appreciate you very much. If you're enjoying these podcast episodes, leave a like wherever you are, or a 5-star rating if you're listening somewhere like Spotify or Apple Music.
You can find us on social media. We are at Walsh Fam Podcast. Or at Walsh Fam STL if you'd rather see more of our dogs than us. If you are on Walsh Fam Podcast, feel free to send us a message or comment on a video. We would love to hear what you want us to talk about because, well, we've got a lot more episodes to go, and eventually we'll probably run out of ideas.
Yeah, like probably next week.
Oh, yeah. So what should we talk about? It's up to you.
Well, we appreciate you for that. Yeah, thanks for listening. This is the Walsh Fam Podcast signing out, and we will see you next Monday.
See ya.
Bye-bye.